disclaimer, we do not get paid by Zoom. We are not endorsed. We endorse their use because we love it, but there is nothing that comes back to us. We do not have stock in them. So we're going to go through the quick start, some of the basics, some of the deep dive resources that we love today, and as well as some of the planning and the checklist that we use for when we're setting up a space like this and how Josh, do we engage groups.
Could you kill the music? Sorry. Ooh, nice.
Did it work?
It worked.
Oh, amazing. So let's move on to the next slide. So people who here are from AHS, we know this question's been coming up a lot, like, is this something we're allowed to use in healthcare? So AHS does now have the ability to get Zoom accounts. So if you do go to Zoom, their website, and you do sign up and you use your AHS email, so it's either at ahs.com or at albertahealthservices.com, it'll automatically connect you to the AHS enterprise account. Okay, so it'll give you some more options, but as well as for everybody else that's on this call who's not from Alberta Health Services, Zoom is completely free to use in their very basic form. You get up to 40 minutes for free in a meeting space, and up to 100 people within that 40 minutes. So there is an opportunity to just try it out. And one thing I'd love to add, as my coworker probably feverishly types me not to forget to this, is that Zoom is a great way to connect with people who can't log into your organizational way of doing things. So here in AHS, we love to use Skype. It's super simple. It's integrated into everything we do, but we know that people who are outside of our space have a hard time connecting in with that. Zoom provides them the opportunity to kind of come in and have it feel a little bit more normal for them.
Okay. I think we should also mention that if you can use Zoom on your smartphone. So if you do decide to use Zoom that way, we would highly recommend downloading the app beforehand. They have both Android and Apple versions. So and the app is really intuitive. We're not going to actually cover the app functions today, but that is definitely an option for people who want to connect that way.
So, like we mentioned, the tools, like the quick start, some of those basics. The trust, which is going to be tomorrow, it's really how do you engage teams? How do you make sure that you're having good, rich conversations, the same ones that you have when you're in person in a boardroom, but how do we do that here, where we're all sitting in our own homes, and those techniques, those tips and tricks, those tools that we love to use, whether it's a liberating structure or something from human-centered design, we're going to share all of those secrets that we have with all of you so that you can have meetings that are just as productive, if not more, and they feel really action-oriented, and your group can come out of them thinking, that was a fantastic meeting, instead of, I think that that meeting could have been an email.
Yeah.
So the Zoom gizmos, and you're going to see this all at the bottom. You've got your control for your AV options. You can see who's on the call, the chat box, and the get out quick. This is the simple header that you guys are all looking at right now. I encourage you to open up that chat. You can actually open up the participants, see everyone's online, see if you've got a friend. Within the chat box, you can message people privately. It's a really simple interface for others to use, and it does reflect very similarly to the app, like Aaron was mentioning it. Has any issues with you, I apologize already, but this slide here is really to troubleshooting thing for audio. So there's the bottom left-hand corner and that little up arrow. If you click that up arrow, it shows you this bigger menu, and you need to make sure that you got your right headphones selected and your right mic selected as well. Nothing kills the momentum of a meeting more
that was a
than
bit of a tongue twister.
Stuttering.
Yeah. Momentum of a meeting more.
I don't know why I went with that note to make sure I didn't mess that up. Nothing kills the momentum meeting when you start off with, can you hear me now? How about now? Hour-long meeting, and 25% of it is spent on audio technical issues. So you end up wanting to try Zoom a little bit. Give you guys self the opportunity to make sure the tech is, but as you may already know how to use the tech, I always encourage signing in a little bit earlier as well, because you guys all experience already. Have a little bit of a fun conversation. You know, we're all maybe stuck in our home. You know, we have to work virtually. That human is important. And the issue that we always have with virtual meetings is it doesn't. We're used to having some connection, and sometimes those meetings are our biggest connection of the day. So, lights, camera, action. Photo. It was casual Friday. I had a sweater on. We're encouraging you guys to turn on your cameras if you're comfortable. But this is really about the face that's behind the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we really want people to be able to each other's eyes, it's, especially virtually. All of us have had that time, particular meeting. Encourage you ready for your meetings and get used to showing yourself virtually, because it just, you're going to be able to work more that you're.
Piece too is that when people, but it's not for the reason that you think. It's mostly because they love to multitask. And what happens when you're working on something and you're not really told face, and then when someone asks you a question, the answer is like, you know, they do this, and then they look up and like, oh, yeah, okay. If you have the camera on, it's less likely for that to happen, and it just feels more humanizing.
So what we want to do is give you a chance to try out some of these tools. Remember, the whole reason we're having this meeting today is we're going to encourage you to have the confidence to just try this out for yourself. The first thing we want to do is do a little icebreaker, and that is just basically find the chat box at the bottom of your screen. When you click on that little chat icon, you will be able to pull up the chat for the whole room. You also have the opportunity, if you look down, it says to everyone, or it should be everyone. If you click that, you can actually send independent messages to specific people. But for this purposes and our little exercise, we want people to just make sure that says to everyone. And we'd like you to type in your name, your obsession, and your distraction. Now, some of you might know Nod from nursing, name, occupation, duty. We like obsession, distraction. And oh, you guys are ringers already. Rhonda loves being outside and she's distracted by tiny humans. Oh, Schitt's Creek. Yes, I love Schitt's Creek. That's a great one.
Can we say that online?
Well, they say it on TV. Hey.
Ooh, someone said Toastmasters was their current obsession. I love that.
That is cool.
Is that a grill?
Toastmasters? No, I think it's like so. Ali, you know what it means. Is it a grill? It's a terrible joke. Someone said they're obsessed with sports. What are you doing right now? Because I'm equally obsessed with sports, and I'm really tired of watching Edmonton Oilers hockey games from the 1980s.
That's true. All right. So great, guys. You have all now successfully achieved using the chat box. It's super easy. And you can see in large meetings like this, the chat box needs somebody to keep their eye on it because things can go through really fast. And but for smaller meetings, it can be, we often use the chat box for people who want to make a suggestion, but maybe other people are talking at the time or so forth. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to mention is people seem to have like a love-hate relationship with icebreakers. And it may seem kind of like cheesy, but it provides that opportunity, like I said, that's a human connection. You get to know the person on the other side of the camera just a little bit more. And it makes it just, you move into the next thing. It makes me maybe a much more serious conversation. You at least going into it with a smile. And that could change the entire background of the foundation of what you do. So, sorry, Aaron.
No, that's okay. So the next thing we're going to try is using the whiteboard. This can be kind of scary for somebody, so for some people. So, and sometimes people have a hard time finding out how to get to the toolbar. So it's 3 simple steps. First, if you hover near the top of your screen, you'll have a view options drop down box and choose annotate. And when you choose annotate, then what we'd like you to do is click on the stamp, and you'll see the stamp, the drop down, and choose the star. Oh, you see, look at how good you guys are.
Everybody's using it.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So we're going to clear this screen because we want you to use your stamp with a purpose now. So Josh, can you clear the screen?
I am. Okay. All right.
All right. Now, people, stop stamping. All right. Clear the screen again. Now, you very naughty participants, stop stamping, and we want you to use the stamp to put in what size of meeting you're usually going to have with Zoom. So do you think you'll be using it for less than 10 people, more than 30 people, or just 11 to 30 people? All right. And now there's no way that that's 200 people answering there. So we're going to give a few more chances for people to find the stamp. Those rule breakers that have the hearts, you know, we know.
We love the rule breakers.
Yeah. Find the stamp. All right. So it looks like most of you are going to be using this for up to 30 people, and that's good. And Josh, do you want to talk about why we're talking about why does that matter?
Sure. I'm just going to get everyone to stop annotating. No more stamps, please. So turn it off.
Nobody, whatever you do, don't draw a mustache on Marlies.
Yes, we're begging you. Please don't draw a mustache for us leaders. So the reason we ask, and we always are using, or you're going to engage in the meeting, is because you should really be thinking about the roles and how are people going to be working. Is have depending on the number of people that are going to be online. You know, we have 200 people that are here, and they're going to force me to turn off the annotate because I feel like they're like, oh, I wonder if he knows how to turn it off. And I'm like, yeah, I do. So it'll be off now. I'm going to clear everything. Sorry.
Look at the horns.
So we always encourage people to have roles within a Zoom face. And so you'll notice like there's 2 hosts or a facilitator. I am the facilitator for this session, and I have Aaron, who's my co-host. And we do this for a couple of reasons. The main voice. Every once in a while, you need a break. It doesn't matter who you're listening to. You may need just a little bit of a change. At Monox, seeing what conversations are happening in there. You're not going to need this for a meeting with 10, but it really helps control always within that space. And then, of course, someone who's going to provide some sort of tech. Who's got some questions? You know, making sure that everything is run really, really smoothly. I'm being told I need to slow down. I'll make sure that I slow down. I apologize. I do talk a little quickly when I am extremely excited about something new. So,
hey Josh, could you just people are asking questions about do the annotate thing again? So just walk them through without.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to allow people to annotate.
All right. So if you haven't been able to find the drop down, go and hover at the top of your screen. You'll see a drop down option that says View Options. When you click that, the Annotate option should be the 3rd one down. If you select Annotate, you should see a toolbar. We'll say arrow, eraser, so forth. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can draw. Some choose to put text. We just use the stamp because it's, so you can choose from the stamp a star, a heart, question mark, an X, a check, or an arrow.
Sorry, I have a question. What if I can't find a drop down. Now I'm on the app on my iPhone and I am not seeing a drop down anywhere.
Okay, so on the app, if you are using your iPhone app, some of the may not have that annotate functionality on your iPhone.
I'm going to look into it. I'll send you something if I find
So
something,
can I interrupt there? That would include then there's no up arrows on the iPad. There aren't, this annotate function isn't there, correct?
On the iPad, yes.
So a lot of the things you're talking about, you might preface by saying available on iPad or not.
Okay, yeah. I will preface that for the, we did kind of mention at the beginning of the day of the conversation that we were not going to specifically be teaching about iPhone or iPad functionality today, but if you don't find the resources you need in order to check out the tools that we give you, we can definitely help you with questions later on.
All right.
So
we good to go?
We're good to go.
All right.
So I just to clarify before we go on, for me, because I'm on the, I may not be the session for me to be attending because I probably won't be able to do most of the things, right?
Well, honestly, we're not teaching this from the position of an iPhone right now, but if you want to, I mean, we've got about 15 minutes left. We are going to be talking about something that you can use if you think this is a good use of your time.
I found the link for instruction on using iPad and iPhone. I'm the chat. I'm just going to send it in.
Thank you, Ali.
Yep. Thanks, Ali.
Appreciate that. All right, so annotate is off, and we've talked about roles.
We're going to talk about gizmos. So one of the things that people use a lot in Zoom, or sorry, in Skype, is the ability to share your screen. Obviously, you're going to want to be able to still present visuals and other things as well. This works very similar to what you may have experienced on Skype. And you do have the option to share your screen. It's literally a click of a button.
And there's a lot of cool things that you can share. So some of you may have noticed when you did log in, there was audio. So I was playing some music, kind of break up the white space or the blank space. So you can do that. You can share video and it actually works quite well. I've ran into issues before when trying to share video on something like Skype and it looks really, really choppy. So you can do that. So there's lots of cool things that you can do. You can actually share the screen from your cell phone or your iPad as well. So if you want to share like a drawing or something that you're doing on there or changing a document in real time, you can share that also. So this piece here, we were going to do a breakout space, but I want to just talk about the option to do it. There's a lot of people in the space. There's 213. So, and it's not letting me do a breakout right now. So I want to talk about which you can use. You can actually break out as many rooms, up to 50 rooms if you'd like, on how big your meeting is. And you can separate everybody out into these smaller meeting spaces and you can force them to kind of come back. So what happens is there's a button at the bottom of your screen. If you're a host, it's just called breakout rooms. You can select the number of rooms. You can select how many people you want it to be into each one. And it allows for that tighter knit connection with people. So even if you have a meeting with 10, try out 5 breakout spaces and do like the nod like we just did, one-on-one. And I'm going to keep reiterating this idea of humanizing the space. We want to create connections. And too often these virtual meetings are just, we log in, talk about the meeting, and then we leave. Yes. Or we log in and we're like, okay, we're not all here. I'm just going to mute myself and I'm going to do some work until we're ready to go. I'm encouraging us to just don't mute yourself. Say hello to the person that's in that meeting space with you and just have a conversation. It's going to feel that much more productive. It's going to feel like you've actually connected with a person. And, you know, a little bit about this is got to be able to protect mental health. And human connection is extremely important. You know, right now with everything that's going on, you know, we already have issues with social isolation and loneliness. So let's all be you fighting back on creating more human connections.
Fantastic. So we have a few questions, Josh. One that I think we could address right now. They're asking, do we need 4 people to run a meeting this size? And for us, it's worked best on our team that we've assigned roles for this. So it would be really difficult for Josh and I to pay attention to a lot of the stuff that's going through the chat box if we didn't have Ali's backup there and being able to answer some of the questions. And Shay's also keeping her eye on that for technical stuff. And as far as hosting is concerned, we could do this with one host. We like to pass it back and forth so that we can, you know, support each other that way, and you don't have to just listen to one person. But really, if you are having a meeting of about 20 to 25 people, and you're going to be meeting regularly, you might want to try different people being assigned the role of host. You might want to kind of shift the roles that way. Our team is small. We only really have 5 people on the team. So we tend to stick with the same roles, but switching them around in a larger team is possible too.
And there's a really great, someone mentioned, can we run through the steps for a breakout room? We'll make sure that at the end of this, Ali can just make a note. We will send you guys the specific video that Zoom has created on how to do the breakout spaces, which will give you a really great step-by-step. And yes. Somebody asked, do we need a facilitator for each breakout space? It totally depends on what you are trying to accomplish. If you have a specific question that you want answered, you want some action that's done, you will need somebody that's making sure that that conversation is sort of moving forward. If it's more of a tight-knit meeting where there's only 10 of you and you're going to break out into 3 or 4 different rooms just to have some closer conversations, there's really no need to go and have a specific facilitator for that. But you just got to make sure that as everybody online, everybody's engaged in the meeting, because there's nothing worse than going into a breakout space and realizing someone's actually left for the bathroom. and then another person's in a breakout space with nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. So there can be things that come up. Really what we want to do today is we don't expect that you are going to be able to absorb and learn and know how to do everything that we're talking about today. What we really want to do is give you kind of a quick start so that you feel confident creating that account on your own, and then going in and trying some of this stuff. That's where you're going to get to where you are, is just by trying it out. So create the free account. We're going to send out a lot of resources so you have quick links about how to find out more about what you specifically want to find out more again. And then, find your buddy and book a meeting. You need 2 people to create a meeting. So that's it. Book a meeting and then play. Try it out. Test out these functions, and that's really going to be the best way for you to learn.
So, already mentioned the resources we love today. We're going to best practices running a virtual meeting, merging Skype and Zoom together. The AHS IT group does know how to do this, and they will help you go through it. The biggest benefit here is if you want to have an instant Zoom meeting with somebody, you can actually do it right via your Skype contact list that you already have on your computer. There's also, we'll send that link. I think Ali's already put them all into the chat box, but you'll also get the presentation we have here. It's fantastic, 40-second long tutorials on how to do different things. So a couple of people are asking, how do I book a meeting? You're jumping ahead. It's as simple as this. So you make an account, there's a button that says My Meetings, and you just click Book a New Meeting, and this is exactly what you're going to see. What's your topic? When are you going to do it? Make sure you check AM or PM and have the right one, because I've sent a lot of meetings to a lot of people with 3 a.m. in the wrong GMT. So just making sure that those are correct and just, of course, makes things move more smoothly for you. And then there's, of course, meeting options. It can feel really overwhelming. Enable the ability, don't miss that one. Zoom actually has a waiting room that'll hold. It's, we want to have that ability to have meeting on. And then the mute participants upon entry is good if you're having a meeting that's like, more than 20 people, and you don't want somebody logging in and hear a dog barking in the background, or, a Starbucks barista we've all heard once or twice before. Those are those simple ones that we encourage. Once you do create the meeting, this is what it looks like. And you can click right here, the Outlook calendar, and it pulls all of that information that it's just created into the Outlook calendar that you know and love from AHS. And it looks just like the Skype one. It's got all of the information and phone and lines and everything like that. And you can just invite invitees, send the invite to your invitees, and they will receive all the information that they need.
Also, if there's somebody wants to be in the meeting and didn't get a link, you can just send that URL or the URL, and they can Earl, send them your cousin Earl. No, send them the URL, and they can just join that way. It's super easy.
So Karen had a question about authenticating users, making sure the right people are attending the meeting and not the meeting invite just goes out to everyone. You can put in passwords and things like that to ensure you're only having the specific people join into the actual meeting space.
Jenna Miller is making fun of my cool new lingo, Earl.
Ural.
Ural.
I'm going to use that forever now.
The Ural. All right. So, was there anything else about booking it that you wanted to cover, Josh?
Ali, I just want to make sure there's some questions about using Zoom within the healthcare space. And Ali, there is a post that's done by Zoom where they talk about HIPAA compliance, I believe, and about the use of Zoom within the Canadian, specifically healthcare space. So Ali will put that in the chat box and it'll go out in the information as well.
So tomorrow we're going to be back in this space and we're going to be talking about the trust that you need to have. Great. Who you're meeting with, why are you meeting with this? Does it need to be a meeting? And then also, how to engage people authentically when you are, divided by space and a screen. And so we will be not talking about the technical basic features. What we really, really encourage you guys to do is go and try it out. And if you have problems after you've tried it out and you don't know how to do things, please connect with us then. We're going to be around to answer your questions. The best way to do that is either to send us an email, or you can also connect with us online via Twitter if you want to do that. And we also will be taking this, a recording of this meeting and putting it on our YouTube channel. So I do believe that Ali's going to throw our YouTube channel in the chat box, so you guys can click there. And this should be up and going. I think, Shay, what it usually takes about an hour to get that organized. And then we'll also be sending out the resource links to everybody who attended the meeting as well, so that you don't have to scramble through the chat box to find those.
So we thank you guys all for taking the time out of your busy days. We know everybody is hectically working. They're doing a lot of stuff. And I want to say thank you to all of you for joining us.
Yeah.
Stay happy, stay healthy. And you have any further questions or things you need, send us an email. We love chatting about the stuff. We love sharing the stuff that we love with others and our passion for working a little bit differently. So I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow. We'll be talking about a different topic, like Aaron said. It won't be the same as today. So,
all right. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers,
See you
everybody.
later. Happy Zooming.